Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. First thing out, I just want to say thank you to the channel members. Thank all you guys. I appreciate you more than you know, and gals. And I want to say thank you for anyone who just comes through, discovers my videos, any way that you do. I really appreciate you watching, and I will invite you, if you're so inclined, to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon. It would really help me out, and it'll keep you updated on things going on in the channel. So today I was going to do something a little different, kind of an updated version of a video I think I've done before. And I've got a few of these planned where I'm going to look at my collection through kind of different lenses. This one being kind of the Tanto lens. Because for me, it's interesting to find out what has stayed in my collection, what has come into my collection, what I really like and why. And this is going to be the top 10 Tantos in my collection. And it's going to start with the 6 Hour K320 Tanto that is, I would say, an almost perfect USA made, polymer handled, inexpensive, CPM or S30V, under 125 bucks, I want to say. Uses a bar lock that's done very well, has very good detent, has a handle that, I guess because SIG's experience in the grip industry, is extremely ergonomic. I don't even feel the pocket clip. I think it's a wicked Tanto design. We'll break out just a little bit of paper so you can cut with the different edges that these Tantos offer, which is one of the things that kind of define a Tanto to me. You've got these two distinct edges. So you've got the front edge here, got the back edge, and then you've got the little corner point, or the box opener. But the Sig Sauer K320, made with Hogue or by Hogue, is a fantastic little knife. It's one that I've had now over 2 years, and it stays in my collection because it's a good knife. So coming in at number 10, we're going to call it the K320. Moving on, we come to one of my earliest Tucsons that actually has a name, and I want to say the name, I could get it wrong, maybe Sidewinder, Sidewinder, or I can't think of the other name. We'll call it the Sidewinder. In either case, it's the TS something, and I think it's the Sidewinder. It's an older design. I picked it up at White Mountain Knives. Fantastic knife, and a fantastic value. I want to say I got this knife for around $145, and M390 Mokhtar design, carbon fiber inlaid handles in these titaniums with the recessed frame lock, pill shaped deployment hole, compound grind, fantastic finger flipping, and it's got a very intuitive top flipper here that you just get up here somewhere in the crook and roll it up. You don't have to get to the very top, but you can. And this is, I want to say, the Tucson Sidewinder. I don't know why that sounds familiar, but it's got a very blunt, not blunt, but thick tip, very slicey flat, very pokey, and not as defined of a tip here. But again, the materials are premium. The price point was right on for me when I was starting to collect, and it's been a knife that I've kept in my collection because I really like it. It's a little bit thicker but narrow, so it fits my hand great. Just a fantastic knife that'll probably be in my collection for quite a while. So moving on, we come to the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. As you guys know, I've always been a big fan in Spydercos paramilitary 2s are probably outside of the Mannix and the Shaman, right up there with my favorite. Put it this way, I actually have 3 pair of 2s. Don't have any pair of 3s, if that tells you anything. Doesn't fit my hand for some reason. I don't like it. I don't know why. Makes no sense. But I do have 3 pair of 2s. I've got a Tanto, this one here, regular drop point, and the Warncliffe. And this Tanto is done very, very well. Got a little scratch on it because I do use my knives. That's okay. This one is Golden, Colorado, USA Earth. It is in CPM S30V, not one of the boutique steels. Got a very sharp flat. Got a very thick, sharp point, but that is a flat ground onto the point, and it's super piercy, which I kind of think the Tanto is really designed for, right? I mean, I use them because the corner's easy to open packages with. I like the look. I think they're badass, and they are designed to pierce should you need it to pierce. So moving on, we come to yet another Tucson. And this is a good one too, guys. In terms of when I look at Tucsons, I look at the value per dollar, I look at the design language, I look at the way the knife functions, and this is the Tucson TS300. It is, again, another Mokhtar design. I think I pronounced that wrong, but either way, it is in 14C 28N, really clean titanium frame lock. Fantastic action. This is a flipper only knife or a middle finger hole only knife, but it deploys with a thumb or with your middle finger like nobody's business. It has one of the more aggressive Tantos on this list of the Tantos that we'll be looking at today, these 10. But you've got this deep hollow grind. You've got this really keen front point with the splinter digger. I mean, super, super sharp. You can score with that because it's very, very sharp. Matter of fact, I might have just gotten myself, and it's got probably one of the pierciest tips, or one of the 2 pierciest tips in this grouping. And that is the Tucson TS, I want to say 300, and just a fantastic knife. Was a great value at around 115 bucks when I picked it up. The ergonomic lines on it are done very well. The clip works very well. The action is on point, and I just think it looks wicked. So moving on, we come to, I think this will be number 6. And this is a knife that was not even on my radar until Blade Show 2023 when I was at the EMP EDC booth. And this is a little knife that I got familiar with there, and it is the EMP EDC Ronin. It is a total departure from the knife that we were just looking at. I look at this kind of as a gentleman's folder that's done exceptionally well. It's in ultra high-end materials, L-Max and ribbed titanium. Has both this top flipper action, which I hate all top flippers equally, but it's got the EMP EDC deployment hole that I've come to love, and it just fires on command. It is a thin knife. It is a sexy knife. I think it is a cool ass looking knife. You've got this hollow grind here, this thick tip, stonewash blade. Very slicey. You've got this very acute point. And then you've got your Slurpee Saver, which all these Tantos do well, is just pierce like nobody's business. I love this knife. It has fantastic action. It locks up great. It's just a joy to carry because it's thin. It's got fantastic ergos. And I think John and Jamie at EMP EDC continually hit it out of the park. So I'm a huge fan. Which brings us to number 5. And number 5 is going to be one of my smaller Tantos, but one of my favorites and one that is very aggressive. This is the Grant Tripper, which is the small, Best Tech made, I guess, follow-up to the Grant Gripper. It's a multi-deployment knife. You've got a finger flicker or traditional flipper. You've got this neat coffin-shaped deployment hole or slot. And then you've got this nicely jimped front flipper, right? So it'll open a lot of different ways. You've got this nice compound ground, I think it's an S35 VN blade, where you've got this hollow and this flat up at the front. And if we talk about the pokiest Tanto in this group, it is going to be the Tripper. The Tripper is an absolute dart. It is a splinter remover. It is a, you name it. You could bore holes with this thing. It's so sharp. But the hollow grind is sick. That front is long enough and wicked enough to use any way that you would need to. This corner point is very, very much a razor. And this knife pierces like no one's business. Pierces, tears, shreds. Just a fantastic little knife. One of my faves. I'm a smaller, medium hand guy, and this thing fits my hand like an absolute glove on the choil. The action's dreamy. I like the multiple deployments. I like Jason Grant as a guy and as a maker, and I'm just really stoked to have this knife in my collection. And this is the Grant Tripper coming in at number 5. Which brings us to number 4. And that is my only weird non-folding knife that is, I guess you'd call it a folding knife, even though it's not a folding knife. So I put it in the same category because it's not a fixed blade. And this is my XOOM. It's the Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive. LMAX blade steel on this guy. You've got this pine bark or pine forest carbon fiber. I don't know why they call it that. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it was different, you know, so I figured get that, and if I ever want to upgrade the scales, I can. Didn't know how well I would like this knife because I'd reviewed the XOM that my buddy A to Z had, as well as his XO. But once I started carrying it, started playing with it a little bit and using it as an EDC tool, I could really not only appreciate the design, but appreciate the functionality as a package opener, as a knife the way I use knives, right? Which is not that hard. But this Riot made knife, I don't know if you can hear it. I can't. It glides through paper like nobody's business. You've got this top grind that's thicker. You've got your little corner edge there. And you've got just an absolute slicing, chopping, gouging beast. And I really dig it. Self-defense knife extraordinaire. Fantastic carry. A knife I really like. Didn't think I would, but it's made the list of hanging around forever. And that is my XOM by Riot. So moving on, we come to a knife that again surprised me this year. I was not expecting it. I was not expecting to add a flipper only knife to my collection, but this is the Mr. Designs Cipher. They also make a Cipher D and a drop point. I loved the Tanto. When this knife came in, it had carbon fiber scales initially. I bought the black scales, and then I bought, I think, every color pivot collar combination you can get. It's got a wire clip, M390 blade that is so thin. When I say thin, TRM thin. I mean, this knife is an absolute slicer. And it's kind of an understated Tanto where it doesn't look necessarily as aggressive as some of the others, and you can see that thicker grind on that point, which really will still move through material. You've got the corner that works great. It's got a piercing point, but what I love about this knife is the size. It's about the same size, I'm guessing, as a pair of 2 for those of you that might not be familiar. Let's see. About the same size as a pair of 2, but such a thinner package. I call it kind of my gentleman's folder, wacky Tanto knife, and I love it. I mean, I really do. It's a flipper only, which normally would disqualify me from buying it. I bought this, and then within a week, I bought the other Mr. Zero that was a flipper tab only, because I just love the knives. So, moving on, we come to number 2, which is the biggest Tanto in this list, the most ridiculous, the most unneeded, and one of the ones that brings me the most joy. I've got somebody I've been talking to where I might let this knife go live with somebody else in the not so distant future. But guys, PMP and Max Ace, I think PMP designed it, Max Ace built it, have put together here a folding shovel that is just an absolute beast. Probably the biggest knife when you look at weight, mass, blade mass, in my collection. Just absolutely massive. For example, if you just look at that stop pin, I want to say that stop pin .1990, almost right under 1/4 of an inch. So yeah, it's got a huge stop pin, fantastic lockup, absolutely no movement in that blade. You've got this wonderful poon that locks your hand into this hulk of a knife with just too much goodness and too much overbuildness to even really focus on. It's just a huge slab of M390. It is 2 chunks of titanium with a big honking titanium backspacer and a big honking clip. Does have a regular flipper tab, and it has the deployment slot. It has a huge hulking detent ball, which is what you would want on a knife of this size, but it is just a joy. It's hung on the detent ball right now, but the blade's so big, it'll roll right past it. So that is the PMP Tanto, and it is number 2, which can only leave 1, which is my favorite Tanto of this year that's in my collection as of right now. And it's everything that I loved about my OG Nimble, the first Nimble that brought me to EMP EDC as a lifelong customer. This little Nimble T V2 has action that I can only describe as splendid. It's better than my original Nimble, and I'm sure it's just because the knife has had several variations, right? I love the honeycomb milling on the knife. I love the colorway, love the satin blade. I want to say this guy, let's see what it's in. I don't remember if it's Magna Cut. It doesn't matter. I know it tells me in there somewhere. Number 155. Anywho, this is the Nimble T. It is my favorite Tanto and one of my favorite knives. I love to carry it. It's small, fits my hand great, has like I said, fantastic action. You've got a deep hollow grind and a chubby little tip with just a little scorer corner there and a piercer like nobody's business. Just a great little package. My favorite nimble yet. I won't say it's my favorite EMP EDC, but it's my favorite nimble yet. So guys, that in the best order that I could come up and put them in are my top 10 Tantos. And I won't be able to lay them all out here, but I'm not going to waste a lot of your time. I'm going to tell y'all I love each and every one of you. I hope some of you guys are around tomorrow night when, well, it'll actually be this afternoon. When this releases, it'll be Friday, and hopefully some of you guys this afternoon, this evening, can come hang out with us at Friday Night Flicks. I always look forward to that and hanging out with you guys. I have a blast because you guys teach me stuff. I learn stuff every single Friday Night Flicks. But guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. If you haven't yet and you're so inclined, if you hit that subscribe button, I would be super stoked and it would help me out. But I'm just glad you're here. I do ask, please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace. All right, guys. And then one that I left out that I had to put in here. I'm just going to drop it there in the middle. This is the Medford Marauder. It got hidden under my cloth over there when I was laying out my 10 knives. But if you counted 9, it's because this one got stuck in at the end. This guy is a hulk of a knife. One of my favorites. S35VN. Just a nice anodized titanium. Satin, hollow, with a just very, very thick tip. Let's get some paper, because it is a thicker grind, but it cuts very, very well. Probably the second largest knife in this collection, or in this representation of Tantos. But it is a beast. Made in America. It is, again, the midi Marauder, so it's not the full-size Marauder H, but it is, for me, a full-size knife. Absolutely fantastic. One of my faves, made in America. Probably of the 3 Medfords I have, this is the one that's the chunkiest overall. My infraction's pretty chunky, but I think this Tanto and this shorter blade makes this one just feel a little bit more banging. But yeah, guys, had to throw that in there as we're going through the Tantos. I'll drop it in the middle. I love you all. Peace.